book of Psalm. Thank you so much. The book of Psalm number 37. Psalm number 37. And I want to commence the reading of the word of the Lord with verse number 23. Psalm 37, verse number 23. The Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in him. Though he may stumble, he will not fall, for the Lord upholds him with his hand. I was young, and now I am old, yet I have never seen the righteous forsaken, or their children begging bread. In this season, in the midst of this global pandemic, I want to preach from the thought today: you can depend on God. You can depend on God. The words read in your hearing, beloved, are the words of a battle-tested king, a skilled warrior who found himself, like you and I, facing life and all that comes along with it. The psalm doesn't come from an ivory tower, but this psalm comes out of the crucible of the life of David. This psalm comes out of the chronicles of David's life and recognize the fierce conflict which exists between the wicked and the righteous. The text is tailored to teach us that we may face some difficult times, and though seasons and trials may test our faith, but the psalm is designed to teach us that trial that we face, we can learn how to be content in the Lord. I don't know who this is for today, who is watching this live, who is tuning in to this worship service, but the word of the Lord to you, I want to affirm and reaffirm your faith today that no matter what you are going through, here it is, friends, you can depend on God. I really can drop the mic and extend the invitation to the church and offer a benediction, the doxology, after this apostolic announcement, after this declaration of faith that you can depend on God. There's really nothing else to say. But I want to put some meat on this bone, if you will. In the text, the writer David was now an old man looking in the rearview mirror of his life, contemplating the various circumstances that he had been through. And he decided to put pen to pad and leave on record his experiences and the sum total of his life for generations to follow. And as he looked retrospectively over his life, he gives you and I today some wise counsel to keep us from second guessing God. He gives us some counsel. He gives us some helpful hints. He gives us his testimony, if you will. He gives us the sum total and the summation of his life and all that he has been through. And if you know anything about David, you know that he's been through more than just this and that. But David experienced trials and traumas, and David experienced dilemmas and disasters. He had to fight giants and bears and lions, and David had to endure the consequences of choices that he had made in his own life. He had to endure family drama. He had to endure a dysfunctional reign, if you will, as being the king of Israel. He experienced good and bad. His life was loaded and littered with highs and lows. He knew what it was like to be in the will of God, as well as David knew what it was like to be out of the will of God. But he looks over his proverbial shoulder retrospectively, and he sees the different scenes and the different seasons of his life, and he has one conclusion. Here it is, that after all that he's been through, even when God could not depend on him, he could always depend on God. I wish I had a witness in here today. These are the words of, watch it, certainty in the midst of uncertain times. And these, beloved, are some difficult days. These are some difficult times, some perilous times. These are the times that try the souls of men. The end of the world is upon us, and the graffiti is on the wall pointing to the imminent return of the Lord Jesus Christ. We are in the midst of uncertainty in our government with a madman in the White House. We are in the midst of uncertainty with our politicians. We are in the midst of uncertainty with economy, with unemployment being at an all-time high of 30 million Americans one day went to bed with a job and suddenly woke up without a job. We are in the midst of uncertainty when one day we're living our lives like it's golden and going as we please, and only to wake up to the next day and we are forced to shelter in place. These are some uncertain times, but one thing that is certain in the midst of uncertainty, here it is, David says that you can depend on God. Says when the heat is on in our lives and when things are not going our way, he says these are words of not just certainty, but these are the words of security. These are the words of blessed assurance. And dear brothers and sisters, it behooves you and I tonight, today, rather not to sleep on this word, but to pay attention to the words of the passage, because I don't know if you notice it or not, but we are living in an unpredictable world. We don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. We don't know what's coming down the pipe from one moment to the next. Things in this season has taught us that life can change just like that. In the snap of a finger, life can change just like that. In the blink of an eye, life can change just like that. We all know where we've been, but none of us know where we are going. But I want you to know what Big Mama used to say. She used to say, I don't know about tomorrow. Many things about tomorrow I don't understand. All I know is who holds tomorrow, who holds my future. Come get in the text with me. Serving the Lord doesn't grant us immunity, or our salvation does not serve as a vaccine, if you will, against the vicissitudes of life. I wish because I was a preacher, I wish because I was a pastor, I wish because I was a child of God, I wish because I come to church and give in the offering that will offer an exemption against the perplexities, the pain, and the problems of life. I wish to God, because I have faith in God, that I would never experience a rainy day in my life. I wish to God, because I love him, and because I love his people, and because I tried to do right, that I would never experience a sick day, that I would never know what it is to be without any money, that I would never know what it is to be without food. I wish my Christianity, I wish my salvation served as a vaccination against the troubles of life. I can't tell you that the Bible is clear that in this world that we will have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. The Bible is clear that yea, all who live godly shall suffer persecution. I need to give you the bad news. The bad news is you're gonna have some bad days. Oh yes. The bad news is there's gonna be times in your life that life does not go your way. The bad news is that suffering is a part of this, that sorrow is a part of this, that grief is a part of this, that loss, oh God, is a part of this. The church I grew up, they used to put it this way. The choir sung a song. It went like this: trouble in my way, I have to cry sometime, I laid awake at night, but that's all right. Come on, Jesus will, he'll fix it. When he's gonna come through, I don't know. When he's gonna deliver, I don't know. When is the storm gonna be over, I don't know. But just do me a favor, type it in the computer and shout after a while. Come on, do it. Say after a while. Come on, shout it in your house. Say after while. Do I have a witness in here? The Bible says in Psalm 30:5 that weeping may endure but for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. So did you hear what I said? Trouble is a part of this. Suffering is a part of this. Bad days is a part of this. Sickness and disease is a part of this. Did you hear what I said? But I want you to understand, though it is a part of this, you don't have any reason to fear. You have no reason to faint. You have no reason to give up. Tie a knot and hang on in there. For dear life, I got a word for you. Here it is. You can depend on God. Woo. Have I got a witness in here? It doesn't mean that you're not going to cry. It doesn't mean that you're not going to grow weary. It doesn't mean that you won't feel like giving up. But I want you to pick yourself up and get yourself together and dust yourself off. Have I got a witness in here? David is old and he's endured many difficult moments of crises that has caused his heart to fear. He's no longer young. He's no longer filled with youth and vigor and vitality. David now, his steps have gotten slow, and salt and pepper is in his hair, and his eyesight is no longer 20/20, but his eyes have grown dim and his ears have grown dull. I don't know who this for. You keep living, you're gonna get old too. You keep going to bed at night and keep getting up in the morning, and whatever Mother Nature has given you, Father Time eventually will take it away. David is now old. He's no longer young. And however it was through David's darkest moments that he learned something significant. He learned through his darkest days something very critical. See, you don't learn about who God is as much in the sunshine as you do when it's raining. Oh God. Y'all know what I've been through, Antonio. I've been through a thorn in the flesh. I've been through affliction in my body. And though I've been walking with God ever since I can remember, let me tell you, it seems like I can see him clearly. Yes, in the dark. It seems that I can hear him. Yes, when I'm going through a little better than I can when everything is moving in my direction. It was in David's darkest moments of his life that he learned that which was without value, beyond value, if you will, about God. In the darkest moments of his life, he learned about the faithfulness of God, and that which he learned about God's faithfulness gave him a peace, if you will. That which he learned about God's faithfulness, watch this, Jamil, it calmed his nerves. That which he, learned, First Lady, about the faithfulness of God, it looked like it soothed his doubt. Do I have a witness in here? Minister of music, KD, what he learned about the faithfulness of God, it looked like it gave him what he needed needed to take a licking, but keep on ticking. I don't know who I'm preaching to in here, but I've learned more about God in the dark than I did in the light. I've learned more about God in the valley than I did on the mountain. I've learned more about God when I was going through than when everything was all right. I don't know who I'm preaching to on this live. I don't know who's listening to me on YouTube, but I want you to know everything is going to be all right. You're getting ready to find out just how faithful your God is. You're getting ready to find out just how strong your God is in the dark, in the downtime, in the midst of the pandemic, in the midst of the pestilence, in the midst of the famine. You get ready to find out he may not come when you want it to come. But he's always right on time. Go on and type it in on your computer. Say he's on time. He's an on-time God. Yes, he is. May not come when you want him. May not come when you want him. Yeah. But he's always on time. So in spite of the fact that life is topsy-turvy, in spite of the fact that we are living in some uncertain times, in spite of the fact that these are unsettling times, in spite of the fact that it looks like we can't make sense of what we hear coming out of the White House, look like we can't make sense of what we hear coming from our government, looks like it don't add up, look like the wicked is prospering. David said, my foot almost slipped when I looked at the prosperity of the wicked. In the words of Marvin Gaye, Adrian, what's going on? Somebody, Jacob, I'm sorry, son, tell me what's going on. Oh God, but in spite of what we see, in spite of what we hear, we can have a peace. Come on, let's roll, son. That surpasses all understanding. And it will guard our heart and our mind. See, when you got saved, you received peace with God. But when you trust him, you can have the peace of God. And David's life teaches us that sometimes the righteous will struggle. David's life teaches us that sometimes you can't make sense out of the sovereignty of God. That life will leave you scratching your head, wondering, why did God let that happen? Why did God allow that to happen to me? Why is this happening? Why am I going through that? His life teaches us that we are limited in our scope of understanding, that we are finite in the range of our comprehension. And it leaves us asking questions like, why does bad things happen to good people? It leaves us asking questions that, where is God in the midst of this. But I come to tell you that God is closer than close. He's right where you are in the crucible of your circumstance. He's right where you are in the predicament of your pain. He's right where you are in the season of your struggle. He's right where you are in the age of your affliction. He's right where you are. Just be content. Stand still and let the Lord fight your battle. David teaches us that if you trust in God, the Lord will judge. The Lord will provide. The Lord is in control. The timing of God is perfect. His life teaches us that you can depend on God. So I ain't worried about Donald Trump. I'm not worried about Gavin Newsom. I'm not worried about Eric Garcetti looking under Jesus, who is the author and the finisher of my faith. Be encouraged, Southern. Everything is gonna be all right. Be encouraged, Calvary. Everything is gonna be all right. Don't be in a rush to get back to normal. Don't be in a rush to get back to the sanctuary. Don't be in a rush to get back to what you used to do. I come to tell you, God is doing a new thing, and you can't hurry God. You just got to wait. You got to trust in him. Woo! And give him time. No matter how long it takes. He's a God that you can't hurry. He'll be there. Don't you worry. Yeah, it may not come when you want him, but he's always right on time. So be not dismayed. Whatever betimes, God will take care of you. God will take care of you. I've been young and now I'm old, but I've never seen God on a bad day. I've never seen God having a lunch break. I've never seen God sleeping or slumbering. You can depend on God. He's dependable. I got to get out of here. Child of God, he's dependable. Woman of God, man of God, mother, father, sister, brother, you can depend on God. Husband, wife, black man, white man, brown man, red man, you can depend on God. Rich man, broke man, sick man, well man, you can depend on God. Come on, get this out of my way. This ain't your first rodeo. This ain't your first movie. This ain't your first trial. This ain't the first time that you lost your job. This ain't the first time that you had to be by yourself. This ain't the first time that you laid awake at night. This ain't the first time that your back was up against the wall. This ain't the first time that you got bad news. This ain't the first time. But I come to tell you, check out his track record. Check out his history. Yeah. 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 You can. He's dependable. Come on, team. He's dependable. He's dependable, Southern. North Campus, you better not give up on God. God is dependable. Calvary, I see you at 3 o'clock, Calvary, but you better pull up on the parking lot. Find you a parking space. Roll down your window with a mask on your face and give God the best praise you can give him, because your God, he is dependable. Type it right there. Type it. Type it. Some trust in horses. Some trust in